Hey, rack experts. This is Eric Rusch from Rusch Rack Inspections. Today we're going to have a little conversation about the height to depth ratio of some pallet racking. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm just reviewing some information that is coming from the Rack Manufacturers Institute. They are talking today about how height to depth ratio contributes to the overall rack stability. So yeah, there's a whole lot of jokes there about stability, right? Yeah, anyway. The key objective to safe rack design is to ensure the finished structure won't topple over when subjected to horizontal forces such as an earthquake, forklift impact, or high winds. I don't know about high winds inside of a building, but the forklift impact is going to be your bigger one. A few of us will get to enjoy some earthquakes. To significantly minimize the risk, Section 8.1 of the RMI's ANSI MH16.1 specifications for design, testing, and utilization of industrial storage racks, if you want to go and read it, advises evaluating the height to depth ratio to determine the stability of a single row of standard steel storage rack. The height to depth ratio describes the relationship between how tall the rack is compared to how deep it is at its base. For example, a rack that is 10 foot tall and 10 foot wide has a 1-to-1 height to depth ratio, will be much more stable, meaning less likely to fall over, than a rack that is 10 foot tall and a 1 foot wide or a 10-to-1 height to depth ratio. To calculate the height to depth ratio, the measured height of the rack is divided by the measured depth of the frame. The height should be measured from the floor to the top surface of the highest load supported beam level. The depth should be measured at a floor level from the outside of the first column to the outside of the back column. If the calculated height to depth ratio is determined to be 6-to-1 or less, securing the base plates to the floor with normal anchoring will provide sufficient stability. Okay, take it from an installer that's seen a lot of stuff. I personally would recommend that you attach it to a wall. Okay. Engineers are going to tell you, it's kind of like your car could probably get away with 3 lug nuts. I don't know about you, but I'd kind of like to have all 5 or 6 or 8, depending on what you're driving. So conversely, should the height to depth ratio exceed 6-to-1, additional safety measures must be incorporated. Specifically, the anchors in the base plate should be designed to resist an overturning force of 350 pounds applied to the uppermost beam level. Now, I don't know where they're getting their overturned load of 350 pounds. I don't know of too many people that only store 350 pounds on their upper level. Yeah. Wall connectors, cheap insurance. When a rack's height to depth ratio is determined to be greater than 8-to-1, ANSI MH16.1 recommends utilizing overhead or cross aisle ties that stabilize the rack as an additional safeguard. These ties extend across the aisle to connect 2 frames together at the top for greater support and to minimize the risk of overturning. Additionally, when overhead ties are needed, the frame heights are often further extended in order to avoid being hit by a load during replacement or removal of the top pallet position of the rack. The design of any anchoring used for racking with heights must be certified by an engineer. I'm not an engineer. Okay, I'll be straight up with you. But what I'm telling you is from stuff that I've seen, damage that I've seen, it just makes me feel a whole lot better knowing that a single row is connected to something other than Vegas luck. So anyway, finally, rack systems designed with sloped or offset legs are subject to different engineering calculations and analysis. Sloped leg or offset leg frames should not be used in a single row application without an engineer certifying the design. Here again is a link to the standard if you want to download that and study it. It's something that I will be picking apart in detail in the future. Again, this is Eric Rusch from Rusch Rack Inspections. And if you have a system that you would like to get inspected, please let me know. You can, as soon as I figure out how to get this to come back to full size, you can reach out to me by either an email at eric.rusch@ruschrackinspections.com. You can just use this QR code here to set a time to connect with me. My objective is to help people learn how to inspect their racking so that they can find the worst stuff first and get it fixed, because that's typically what's going to cause a big disaster. Stay tuned. I am looking for other folks that have different things that apply to either warehousing or manufacturing environments where there probably is some pallet racking. It doesn't need to be racking only. I do have some interviews coming up with some folks from Space Guard, JL Wire, and a few others that were at the Modex show 2024 down in Atlanta. Talk to you all soon. Stay safe and get a checkup from the Rack Up.